Welcome to the RNR Dust Stuff podcast where the retro computing, gaming, and hobbies collide.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to R&R Does Stuff. What's going on over there today, Rich?
I'm so impressed you used the title. I always forget that. Good job. Even though it's right above us, we record in video. So I see R&R Does Stuff. And we were really sneaky because sometimes we call it Rich and Ryan, and sometimes we call it Ryan and Rich. So that's kind of the fun thing that we get to flip it around all the time. But dude, I'm doing great. It feels like we haven't talked in weeks. So I am so glad to be back on the horn. And we got another episode of video related items. Wow, we're starting to build some consistency that there's like a show theme of a show. Who would have thought?
What? Oh, we can't do that. That's it. We're out. We can't have any of that. There's no good. Oh, man. What's a bunch of guys talking about stuff? How do we it's like we've planned this or something?
I know, like with notes. Who would guess we had? Well, we have like sentences. We don't have notes, but yes, we've got something. And Ryan, you're kicking us off today when it comes to the visual stuff. Tell me about Amiga RGB World.
Well, in Amiga World, and in most other, I believe even the Commodore 8-bit stuff too, man, we have this 15 kilohertz problem. You know, everything has to be in 15 kilohertz. So Amiga stuff was designed that gave us NTSC or PAL out, standard TV. Unfortunately, that stuff hasn't been around in a while.
Nope.
I mean, no. Technology has changed. New video standards have happened. And now we have our awesome, beloved equipment. It still wants 15 kilohertz. So we have to get it into something that we want. You know, what's easy today? Like, I want to plug it in an HDMI monitor, or at least something current, like a VGA monitor. Those are all 31 kilohertz and above scan rates. So they're just don't work on their own generally. There's a product that someone came up with. I don't know, it's a Chinese thing, whatever. It's a GBS 8200. So you can take 15 kilohertz signals in and it'll scale it up and give you 31 kilohertz out.
Oh.
It's really nice. It's the little board itself is in the $30 range. It's just a board.
Oh, wow.
You get a couple cables. It's super cheap. It works okay. I mean, it's fine. It gives you some basic. It's going to let you plug your older machine into your TV, into your 31 kilohertz device. It's not just for Amiga. It's not just for your Commodore. It'll work on SNES. It'll work on all your old consoles that you got a way to get them up there. This thing actually works. So it's great in that aspect. And it's pretty cool. So it works out well.
Well, let me ask about image quality. Scaling, creating a bigger image requires them to make pixels, right? So this is not a subtractive process. It's an additive process. May not use those fancy words right, but I tried. How does the image look? When you play a game, typing is typing, right? It's just what it is.
Yeah.
How does it look when you have a game going?
It's the quality of a $40 device. Okay. So you may get some tearing, you might get some whatever, some lagging behind it, all that happiness is highly possible. There are different versions of these GBSs. They have different quality issues with them. Some of them have the signal bleeds pretty badly, you get some RF interference. There's ways around an awful lot of this. There's some mods for this device that gives you a lot better control over it. So there's a mod called a GBS control, which, you add this little board onto it and it gives you, and replace some capacitors and do some other mods to your thing. And the different mods will do different things to this GBS and make it better. It becomes a $50 device or $60 device, but it'll act more like $150 device at that
Is
point,
this
which
like
makes
is this like an open source GitHub kind of thing that there's some hardware that people know how to write for, and
Mhm.
they keep making it better?
Yes.
Oh, that's cool, dude. That's cool.
So it's GBS Control is the name of the repo. You can go out and go find it. With that, it'll add. You take an EPS, one of those little EPS boards, and you'll solder that onto certain places. So you got to have some skills. You're going to be soldering a cable to a chip. You're going to be desoldering some stuff off this board. It's not a faint of heart kind of thing. You're just going to buy it and plug it in. That's really not going to work. And from the Amiga perspective, you get RGB leads, and then you have to go wire them up to certain ports on the RGB out of the Amiga. A certain one needs an extra resistor put in there, so the Amiga is going to output 5 volts. This thing wants 3.3 volts, so you don't want to fry the boards. There's some other things you got to do some research and to go do it, but it works. It just plugs in. And the ESP board gives you Wi-Fi, so it'll actually connect to the actual device. You can control the different settings of that ESP board, which does an amazing amount of extra processing and improves your video quality immensely from just a GBS board. So this is if you're DIY, do it yourself, you want to go play with things, this is it. This is a thing. It's cheap. It's inexpensive. You want to go play around, learn some stuff. We got a device for you.
Yeah, this sounds like my oscilloscope project that I did.
Yes.
But it feels very much like that. That you're
yeah.
building something to be successful. Of course, you're building it, and there's a whole community out around it. So that's awesome that you did that, and you're able to kind of upgrade it too down the road when you want to do new things, or you go, hey, I got a little extra time. Let me run with this. How long was that build process?
For me, it was on and off. I probably spent 6 to 8 hours on and off.
Oh, that's good.
But that's not probably encountering the YouTube rabbit holes I've went down trying to figure out what's going on. And then different settings of you're like, wonder what this setting really does. And I'm like, oh, cool. I just blew away my Wi-Fi. Awesome. Now how do I reset it? It has some RF issues. So if you get the little ESP board too close to the graphics processor on the 8200, it'll just nuke the Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Really annoying. Wild. Yeah, so I had to put it off to the side, and then I built a separate Wi-Fi router within like 10 feet of it, so it's not going downstairs. There's a lot going on that makes it, and this sounds a lot worse than what it really is, but once it's done, I 3D printed a case, pop it in there. I've got I have Amiga 23-pin RGB cable that I soldered the 6 cable. There's only 6 cables you need, but I cheated and used an old printer cable. It had 25 wires in it.
Oh, nice.
And I cut the ends off, and I'm like, oh, they're already shielded, so just soldered the stuff onto those appropriately, and put a cable connector around it, so I can plug it into an Amiga, and the outside gives me a VGA connector on it. It can plug right into a VGA monitor, and it works. It's not perfect by any means. Sometimes it's temperamental, but it's $40, and several hours of your life later, you've got a device, and it actually will work. And I have definitely used it for sure. Now you're going to talk a little bit about, I think, a turnkey solution, right?
RetroTink is what I'm going to talk about.
Awesome.
And it is one of those that it's funny that we're in almost the same kind of idea, right? I do like using CRTs, and so I have fun with that, right? My daily driver is a CRT, so it's like I'm back in the 80s, clickety clackety away on my Commodore. And out in the shop where I record YouTubes, I just had a camera on my 1702. And, I think we may have stumbled into this conversation in the past that the 1702 just died one day. Just, little line across the middle, and I give it a little tap on top, and it does the little line in the middle. So I took it out of play, and I had a composite to HDMI adapter so I could finish the episode. but it was only
Okay.
black because it really wasn't like an S video. That's truly not a composite coming off 64. You got, it's like S video on 2 wires. And so
Okay.
I didn't have the right box. I had
Hey.
just watched, Adrian always complains about his retro tank. He's like, oh, my retro tank, And Linus Tech Dips just did a great review on the Retro Tank 5 X Pro.
really?
And so if anybody listening is curious about a retro tank, after I get done with this, look up LTT's review, because it's not retro based in the sense of computers, but it is on all the gaming hardware. And just like we talked about with you, Ryan, I wondered about that gaming aspect, because that's one of the things that makes the retro tank shine. Is it does the scaling, and it does this with all sorts of funny words like motion adaptive deinterlacing, binomial, blah, blah, blah. I mean, there's polyphase scaling, but the price difference is about $300 between what you're using and what I bought. And, that is just part of that game. If you're going to get this, as you know, I hooked it up. I did an episode. Everything worked great. It has so many settings, Ryan. And I have God no clue what I'm doing. I have broken it where it's outputting, and I got it on my HDMI monitor, but I go like this. I go retro tank to an Aver HDMI capture device to a monitor. Okay. I have the image on the monitor. The Aver is telling me it has an incorrect signal. So my output of the retro tank, which is Commodore 3. Actually, I'm going S video. I had an S video cable hanging around. So I go S video into this retro tank, and retro tank HDMI to the Aver. The Aver says it doesn't recognize, but passes the format along, and it shows up on my monitor. So I have screwed a setting up that my Aver was happy with. So I think I'm about to just default it. I think I'm about to default it and start over again, because there's a lot of settings, and it's amazing all the things you can do. There's even like a CRT mode to where you can have the HDMI image look kind of like a CRT versus an HDMI. And I'm like, this is cool. This is cool stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot of some of the stuff you've mentioned about the different motions. That GBS control adds those to that GBS 8200. So without it, you don't get that. But with that, I'm aware of. With that, then you get those different motions, and that you can tell the difference between them. But yeah, yours sounds like you got a lot just going on there built in. I know there's a third one that I've looked at. It's in the price points between our two, but I don't own one. It's the OSSC. It's an open source scan converter. It does
this is one that I think I have a hacker box for that, bro.
Okay.
That we talked the other day about this, and I was like, I think I have a hacker box that has that in it. So, and that'd
be cool.
And again, dear listener, the retro tank could definitely fall into my category of shit rich buys, because as we started talking, I went, I think I got one of those in a kit ready to be used. It just has to be built.
Yeah, because it
has to be built.
You can buy the OSSC from them. I think like Retro RGB. Or they give you the instructions of the BOM of like, here you go, build one. And I know you can go buy cheap knockoffs too from like AliExpress or whatever.
Yeah.
Because they have it's an open source thing. So have fun. For sure. So so you like the retro tank?
I do.
Super good.
I like it a lot. It works really well for me. It's just I messed it up. While I wasn't playing with settings, it worked with the capture device perfectly. And even their documentation talks about working with capture devices. So they expect that, right? They expect people to hook up their SNES, run it to their HDMI to their computer, and stream. It's supposed to, and of course, it helps for those hardcore gamers too that want that 80-inch display in their woman cave. And then in their cave, they have the availability of putting all their different consoles together, because they're the new AAA titles are going to be on the X and the PS4 5s, and they'll have
Yeah.
that hooked in, but they also want to be able to bring up their Atari and get it framed properly on that 80-inch, not stretched,
Right.
not, all crazy. I think it's a pretty awesome device, man. I'm glad I got it. It's overkill for what I want to do, but I've got Ataris and Nintendos, and so it could have a different life too.
Yeah, definitely. That's one of those things. You definitely got to go. What works for you? How much skills do you have? Like, if you don't have soldering skills, I can't recommend a GBS 8200.
Yeah.
I just can't in good conscience recommend one, because there's stuff you need to do to it to make it not suck. And with the Retro Tank and probably the OSSC, there are versions that you can just buy it and go.
Just be done.
Just be done with it.
By the way, who uses SCART connections?
That's a European thing. What's funny, I have a SCART cable, RGB to SCART for my Amiga, because I think the OSSC has a SCART input to it. So
yeah, mine has a SCART also, and I couldn't. I have some of those apples to dig through, and I didn't know if any of those used a SCART connector or not. That's mainly going to be the European variants.
My understanding is that it normally came out, it was used in Europe.
Okay.
But that said, you can run NTSC through it. It carries more of your signals into that SCART cable than some of the stuff that we've done here.
Oh, and it has to. There's so many pins there, guys. If you look at a SCART connection, it reminds me of, it's not chromins and lumens. It's a lot of like R and G and B and phase.
Yeah, definitely.
All that stuff.
Yep. So I've seen someone making converters that I bought one. It gives me RGB to SCART because I was thinking of buying an OSSC. And I've seen ones that's RGB to S-Video. You can plug an S-Video into whatever. But, for me, I've been targeting VGAs and HDMIs because that's what my equipment has for my visual aspect. Now, from that, there's another little device that some monitors, even though they don't say it, some of the LCD monitors and older LCD TVs support 15 kilohertz, even though the VGA spec doesn't start to 31 kilohertz. 100%.
Is that just that era of making a change in how we do televisions, and there's some holdover legacy ideas?
There's some of that. There's some of it. It's like, well, it would just, the chip they were using would just do it.
Oh.
And they just never put it out. They're like, whatever, just like an advertise it. Also, if your device has the three, the three composite inputs for video?
RGB.
Yeah, not just the yellow, but you have like the green, whatever. That spec requires 15 kilohertz.
Oh.
To the best of my knowledge.
Yeah, and that would be what we would probably call component in the AV world. We would call that a component connection.
That's the word I was thinking of. So that means that device will support 15 kilohertz.
Oh.
Now,
that's a pretty good rule of thumb then. That doesn't mean I'm going to be right every time. But a pretty good rule of thumb is if I'm at Salvation Army and I see a component input on an older, probably plasma, early LCD.
LCDs, even newer ones. And there's some newer ones that'll be like TVs. Look at your TVs.
Yeah.
Your LCD TVs that aren't just a monitor will have that on it generally. So I have, sorry, dear listener, you can't see, but behind me I have an Acer widescreen that'll do 320 by 200 at 15 kilohertz out of the box. It just works for some weird reason.
That doesn't even make sense that it would work.
It's just because that whatever they're using, their component, it actually works.
They can handle the video pixels is all it is. They can handle it.
Now there are some, right. Now there are some challenges with it. So your LCD stuff, your high def, half, extra, full high def and high def, the clock signals is higher than what a normal CRT monitor would be. So if you plug it into like a normal, RGB out to that, you're going to get these vertical lines into the background of your screen a little bit because the clock cycle's faster. and it's not buffered. So that's a little bit of what a little device called an AMI RGB to VGA, and I'm using the V3 model.
Wow, that is smaller than like a half a pack of cigarettes.
Yes.
Or maybe let's say this, it's a little smaller than an Altoids tin.
Yep. There'll be this one Rich is looking at right now doesn't have the little Amiga adapter on it. I got to solder that on here for him. But what this thing is doing is giving an RGB out from the Amiga's RGB out, and then giving you VGA. Problem is, it doesn't do the scan converting like
I was going to
the
say,
RetroTIN.
are there chips on there, or is this
Yes.
basically a pin assignment change?
It is. There are chips on here. It is doing the pin assignment. It's going to pass 15 kilohertz out. If your monitor supports it, there's a little settings on here, and it puts a buffer chip in there to strip those vertical lines out.
Oh.
And gives you an easy VGA, RGB to VGA in a tiny little package. So you don't have to do weird things. Amigas in the past, they would ship them from the factory. You had this little box that would plug in.
Yeah.
Commodore used to make them, and some others did. So this is just another one of those, but now it's stripped. There's little jumpers on here. We'll switch. So you set it to be, do I have a full HD? Do I have just normal HD? You set to what thing it is, and it'll set the megahertz buffer to be that, and it'll remove these little lines.
Unreal.
And it's really cool. It's a really neat idea. And it's really small because you've got to have a way to get this 23 pin RGB to something that's usable by a modern device.
Oh, yeah.
How do I do that? I want it simple.
Yeah, I know. That seems to be, even if we were to take this discussion into using different keyboards, using different mics, using different, I think we take for granted, or I shouldn't say we, I would say folks that have not grown up PS2 and earlier take for granted how awesome USB is. I mean,
yes,
it's just, I can stack so many peripherals into one chain or one channel per se that my system can use. That wasn't RetroLife. Everything had to have its own individual port/card controllers and chips and a slot in the back. And, you could only have so many slots on things,
Yeah. But, whatever, plugging in a printer on an 8-bit machine required this whole interface thing to be in there. Or a hard drive controller just didn't come with your machine. You had to actually have it. So this is great. This is super. It's a neat thing. I had PCBWay make a whole bunch of them for me.
PCBWay.
Nice. And then I bought some 23-pin RGB Amiga connectors, and how the board was designed. You just push the connector on and solder the 23 pins to the board, and you got a working device. And I print a 3D case for it. Done.
So I know I don't sound like it, listener, but I grew up in the audio visual world.
Yes.
So not only from a point of even a technician on the field, wiring up XLR, S-video component, or BNC connectors. So I had a lot of video background, going to classes and trainings and things. Mm-hmm. Ryan, I don't think you really had a video background till all this started with the Amigas. Is that right? You did a lot of research, man. You got a lot of knowledge going on.
No, I'm just, my background is just computer science. And I consider myself a generalist.
Yeah.
So I'll go learn.
Yeah.
Well, I have a problem. I'm going to go solve a problem.
Yeah. Because
that's just kind of what it comes down to.
You weren't messing with video exchange in the past 4 years ago. You weren't doing that. This is all new things, new challenges you had to overcome.
Right. I did a lot of Amiga stuff growing up. I remember to show some history. We did like a class project that was a video. Where I did mixing on the Amiga. We had video ins and video outs on a little Genlock and being able to overlap things. So did a little bit of that.
Well, I think the last topic we should talk about is gaming related tonight. You up for that?
Up for some gaming and some video.
Yeah, we talked retro, we've talked video. Now it's time to talk video gaming Virtual True Dungeon.
Love it.
Can you, all right. I'll give everybody a brief idea of what Virtual True Dungeon is.
Yes.
Imagine you get together with your friends and you call into a Zoom call. And they really skin the Zoom call incredibly well. They have a great skin that has like this D&D feel to it and stuff.
Yeah.
And then you and your friends go through 7 rooms and you take on 7 challenges. Maybe they're puzzles, or maybe you're fighting a monster. With the usage of an app on your web page or an app on your phone or your iPad, the game master will say, attack, everybody roll for attack. And you press a button and it does all the bippity boops in the background and you get to see if you hit, how much damage you do. And then the puzzle rooms, it's no shoot, people. It's tactile. There is someone in the room representing you that they call the golem. And the golem does what you ask it to do. And so we have been, oh my gosh, what track did we just finish? Because that's what we're talking about. What was the
what is it? Tomb of Elemental
Tomb
Evil?
of Terror. Tomb of Terror.
Tomb of Terror. You're right, Tomb of Terror.
We just finished Tomb of Terror. And story arc wise, how many games did we play on Tomb of Terror, Ryan?
We're March. I think we're 3 deep of 5, I believe.
Are we done? I thought we finished Tomb of Terror.
No, whatever this one had was a 5-episode arc. So I don't think it finishes till May.
Okay, so we finished the first story arc in 5 games.
I believe so, yeah. So it started in January. So there's one a month. So January, February, March. We just finished, because we're recording in March of 2024. So the next 2 over April and May, I believe, are the next parts of it. So it'd be great. It's think of it as virtual escape rooms.
Oh, that's a great way to put it.
It really is. You have 7 little rooms all put together. You get to work together as a team. Well, you have to work together as a team, because if you don't, you're probably going to not make it.
That's right.
And there's up to 10 of you in this thing. So some people maybe know each other, some people don't. It's kind of like a pickup. However, the tickets, you bought the tickets.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's good to tell everybody you don't need 10 people. By the way, you don't even need another person. If you are just one person, you can get a ticket and you'll get put in with 9 other folks. Most likely there's some grouping going on that people know each other, or they bought tickets together. But everyone's so awesome, they share resources. So that's the other thing about being new. If you get in there, people will help you. They'll help you play the game too.
Yeah. Don't be late.
Yeah, don't be late. Be on time.
Don't be late.
Be early. But they won't let you in because it's calling into a Zoom call. And again, it's so incredible. So we've been having a great time on this Tomb of Terror story arc that we just finished. And now we've started the other version of the story arc. And I tell you, there are different levels even at playing Virtual True Dungeon. I really like it when we push into Nightmare.
We're getting better at it. They're a little more challenging for us. Don't recommend it if you're new.
No, there's normal, hardcore, Nightmare, and Epic. Is that right?
I believe that's a true statement.
Okay. All the Virtual True Dungeon people don't get mad at us when we make mistakes. Because I don't know. Maybe I'm making a mistake. I don't know. But yeah, I'm liking we're not Epic at all, but I'm liking the Nightmare challenge. We kind of get to where sometimes, are we going to get the boss, or are we going to get the puzzle before the time over? It's kind of added some more challenge to us.
Definitely. I mean, for me, as long as I get to room 7, I'm happy.
Yeah.
Smack around room 7, that's fine. But it's a fun thing to do, especially when you have a lot of people that are your friends that you might only see a couple times a year.
Oh, that's right.
For us, it's great. Like, I'm in Virginia, you're in Texas. Some of our other friends are in Pennsylvania.
Larry's in, I'm calling him out. Larry's in PA. Larry's our quartermaster, and he makes sure that we have the best gear in the game.
Yep. We got our other buddy Craig's up in Pennsylvania with him.
Craig always wants that butcher weapon. What's that awesome weapon he gets to borrow? The +5.
We want some +5 barbarian battle axe or something. Yeah.
So by the way, it is D&D. Just FYI, it is D&D. I think I alluded to it being D&D, but I didn't say it's D&D. But it's not truly D&D. It's true dungeon D&D.
Right. It's like their own little flavor of it. It feels more like 3rd edition or something of that nature. But it's fine. It doesn't really matter. Uh, the automatic computerization, like, hey, you got to make a roll or you got to do a save. You just touch your app and it handles it. Then everybody gets to see what happened. There's this virtual dice roller up on the screen. It's fantastic. I know you mentioned that, but that's been super awesome since they've been doing it. Because they give you a code to type in for your character. It's then you put it into your app and that actually links everybody together. Then
And when you're in real person, you have to use a shuffleboard with little shuffle chips.
yeah,
And so
Yeah.
really, it's the virtual True Dungeon definitely leans more like playing D&D online, right? Because you're clicking the buttons, you're getting the rolls,
Yep.
you're seeing the damage. In the real world version, there's like a dexterity coordination aspect to combat that you have to
Yes.
slide down the board. And as you go over the monster silhouette, if you land on certain spots, that's the damage you do. So
Yeah.
people that are really good at shuffleboard in the real game do a great job. And those jerks, some of them are really fast and some of the boards are really slow. And you don't know
Yeah.
until you've thrown your first shot which one it is.
Right. And see, he has a physical challenge. So
It
it's a
is. It's
physical
awesome.
challenge.
I call them dirty
Yeah.
dogs, but I love that they do it.
No, it's a great experience. Super happy with them. It's just a great way every month to hang out with your buddies. At least that's how we're using it. And
Oh my
I highly
God.
recommend.
When's our next game?
You're gonna make me look.
Uh-oh, folks. This is the other thing that happens is Ryan pings me about 4 days before the game and says, hey, you're in for the game, right? And I go, oh, yeah, I remember. Oh, yeah, I remember. It's on the calendar. And
It's actually the weekend before Vintage Computer Festival East.
Okay, before VCF East. That's great. All right, and VCF East, that's all I had. I want to talk about Virtual True Dungeon. I thought we wrapped up the whole thing, but you're right. That was just one story arc that we've wrapped up.
Yeah.
And now we've got another one to get to the final episode. And of course, their stories, everything themes together.
They're great.
It's not like you're just playing something random every month. You're usually continuing what you're on for your quest, which is really cool too.
Yeah, the previous one was pirates. This one's Egyptian themed that we're in right now.
I love it.
It's fantastic. Highly recommend it. Go check it out.
On that ending idea, the only thing, what did I just? Oh, VCF East is coming up.
Yeah.
And we've
We
had
have.
some changes. Not only am I coming up for VCF East, my company decided to do a company event the week after. So I will be staying with Ryan an extra day. I'm going to not fly home, and I'm going to hang out with Ryan. And we need to maybe record a podcast in person.
We can do that.
What?
We can do it in person. We can maybe do it in the car on the way up and back.
Yeah. Yeah, we got a little bit of time. We have a little bit of time. But yes, I can't wait. VCF East is right around the corner. I can't wait to tell everybody about it. I have definitely told the girlfriend. I've told Ryan, SX64 is on my hit list. I'm going to bring cash. I would love to get a working unit that was at least bootable. You know what I mean? Maybe it needs something else.
Right.
I don't know. But I would love to see that happen. Don't know. I didn't see one last year.
No, I didn't either.
Yeah, just like your 4000T, the odds of another one being there are very slim.
I agree.
Yeah. Now, if you took yours, that would make sense because I bet you that would happen 5 times. People selling it in the local community. So we'll see what happens. SX64 is on my list. Of course, I need some other things. They're on my board here. So I don't know what I'll come back with, but I got a couple that are up there that I
Stay tuned for what stupid thing Rich buys.
Yes.
There may be another segment of it.
Oh, there always is another segment of that. Today was Retro Tank, but we fit it into a good conversation because I could have got out of that a lot cheaper. But it's really cool. I got it. I have it. I'm happy. That's all there is to it.
I think that's totally fine.
Well, Mr. Ryan, anything else? Or I'm going to say we got another one, a little short, but we got another one in the can today.
I think we're good. I again, thank you everybody for listening along with us and joining our little adventures throughout our lives and experiences in our chats.
Oh yeah, retro gaming, fun, computers. It's all. We're going to talk about it all, everybody. All right. Thanks
Love
you
it.
guys so much. Bye.
Later.